Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me. We're here for our first NFL division preview. It should be Tuesday morning when I put this out. It's technically Sunday night, 10:42. I'm pretty tired, but I wanted you guys to have something on this Tuesday to watch because, as you know, there are no home runs from me today. I'm out of town, so I'm going to fill the time with something I needed to get done anyway, and that's starting on these NFL division previews. So if you're here for home runs, watch this instead. We'll be back tomorrow for Wednesday. So we'll start with this AFC East division. And in this video and in every video moving forward for the NFL previews, we're going to be doing a brief overview. I want to emphasize that. This is calisthenics for the NFL season. This is just getting our limbs loose. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel and to solve all the problems. We're just here to get our toes back in the water. We're going to talk depth charts, schedule predictions, fantasy targets, a biggest question I have for each team, and then maybe we'll look at some futures. Now, Realtor Ray, a fan of the channel, dare I say a diehard fan of the channel, said, dude, I want to hop on for the Patriots team preview. Now, it was unfortunate that that was not able to happen, but here's what I can tell you, Ray. If you want to type up whatever about the Patriots that you think people should know, I will pin the comment. People can scroll down, and it'll be the first one they see. So that's what I can offer you, and maybe we can do a follow-up if needed. Before we talk about this division, I want to point you to the Patreon. Now, this is something that you can join for $10 a month or $5, but in this instance, $10 a month to help support me and my channel. Now, what's in it for you? You get to join the community of people who want to be a part of the Green Means Go channel. And specifically what's in it for you is for everyone who joins under this $10 a month pass, we're going to have a fantasy league for those individuals, and I'm going to give out $100 in prizes per league. So if we get 30 people, we'll have 3 10-man leagues. Each of those leagues will do $100 in prizes. So we're going to do a live draft on this channel. The link to join the Patreon is in the description. Once you sign up for the Patreon, it will give you access to the Discord. So we talk sports in there, we talk baseball, we talk anything, we talk life. We're talking Wii bowling right now. I mean, that's the hot topic this evening. So if you want to join for $10 a month, I appreciate it, and I'm trying to make it something that people can actually, gain something from. And hopefully this is something. Let's get started. We got the Patriots. Looking at their depth chart, we see a lot of the same, but we have some new additions. Stephon Diggs, probably their biggest addition. Trevion Henderson in the draft, running back from Ohio State, new addition. And we have Mac Hollins at wide receiver coming over from Buffalo. Don't see a ton of, a tremendous amount of movement here. I think Stephon Diggs is a massive addition for this team that could not throw the ball last year. I'm curious to see how they use Trevion Henderson and how much he will be involved in this offense. Obviously, Drake May having another training camp, having another season under his belt should help. But as far as the depth chart goes, that's what we're looking at. Schedule prediction. And how I've done all of these is give you a ceiling, an average, and a floor. What I'm saying is, in the best case scenario, everything goes their way. I think the Patriots go 12-5. I don't think there is a world where the Patriots win 13 or more games. Now, if Realtor Ray wants to drop down in the comments and scold me, I'm happy to pin that comment. I don't see it. I think their floor, at worst, they go 3-13, but I think on average, this is a 7-11 team. Now, for all of these, I did this, and then I checked the Vegas lines, and I will tell you, I am about right on the nose with Vegas. I agree. Vegas agrees with me that it's going to be right around that 7 number, so shouldn't come as too much of a shock there. Looking at some fantasy targets, Stephon Diggs is probably my favorite guy on this team to target, just because I think, when you get a new vehicle, when you get a new car, and I drive a 2004 Hyundai Elantra, so maybe that's a bad metaphor. How about a new pair of shoes? You want to put the shoes on. You want to strut your stuff. You want to rev your engine. You want to go around the block a couple times. I think Stephon Diggs is going to be involved in this offense early and often. Demario Douglas, though, I think is a good secondary option. If teams are saying, wow, they have this weapon, teams are going to plan around Stephon Diggs, I think that opens up the opportunities for Demario Douglas, who did kind of gain a little bit of momentum at the end of last year. but I'm not going to try to overstate that. It was pretty rough still. And then Trevion Henderson's probably more of a question mark than a yellow. Curious to see how they'll use him. I don't know if you'll see him drafted a ton, but maybe a potential waiver wire guy down the line. Biggest question is, what are they going to do with this passing offense? Now, we can maybe answer that with the fact that they went out and got a guy like Stephon Diggs. So they are aware of how horrible it was. I want to show you this because it shocked me. Their number one receiver last year wasn't a receiver. It was their tight end, Hunter Henry. Their leading receptions guy in yards was Hunter Henry, followed by Demario Douglas. The number one guy for them was Hunter Henry. He was 53rd in the National Football League in receiving yards. So their best pass-catching individual was 53rd in the NFL. My question is, can they fix that this year? And I think they've got to. So here we go, a future I have for you. I think if I had to do anything, I don't love betting futures that settle so far out if I don't have a massive edge, and I'm not going to claim that I have any edge at all in any of these, but if I was forced to take one future, I'd say under 8.5 wins for this team. And again, Realtor Ray, let me know if I am wrong. I think this team wins 7 games, so that gives us a 1.5 cushion. Up next, we have the Buffalo Bills, the favorite to win this division. Joshua Palmer is a new wide receiver coming over from the Chargers. Elijah Moore from Cleveland, and Laviska Shenault, I believe, came from Seattle. Probably irrelevant nonetheless. Otherwise, the offense stays pretty much the same. They may have lost a running back now that I look at this, but actually Ray Davis was pretty relevant. Ty Johnson, you guys will let me know in the comments if I'm wrong there. Looking at their schedule, it looks fine for a team that also looks fine. Now, they throw in Baltimore week 1. Of course, Kansas City is going to be on here. They have to play Cincinnati and Tampa Bay. I think those could be tricky games, in the Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia. So it's far from an easy schedule, although their division is pretty soft. I think at most they can get 15. 15-2 is where I set this team on the ceiling. Floor 10-7. I think this team on average wins about 13 games. I can tell you that Vegas pretty much agrees with me. I may be overestimating them just a little bit because of the juice. For fantasy targets, obviously Josh Allen, if you want to pay up for a quarterback. Keon Coleman, I've heard, has had a great training camp, and I think he could emerge as the number one guy. You can see that Khalil Shakur is the one on the depth chart, but I look at Coleman and Shakur, and I can't tell them apart. I don't know the difference. They're both very similar in style and size and stature and the first letter of their name. So, I think Coleman is the guy at the end of the year who has the most yards, and I like him this year for fantasy. Dalton Kincaid also, I think, is a good option at tight end. Buffalo has shown they like to use the tight end a lot. My biggest question for this team is, what are you going to do about these two guys? Josh, are you ready? Because your entire legacy has been up until this point hinged upon Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and your inability or ability to beat either of those guys, even though you're technically not playing them because you're playing their defenses. And it's going to be that way. It's going to be that way. It's going to stay that question. So my biggest question is, can they, the Buffalo Bills, overcome these two? And if yes, it's Super Bowl, and if it's no, it's not. It's another loss in the AFC Championship. So I'm going to be thankful that I am a fan of an NFC team and that I can just watch this from afar and just watch good football, unpredictable football, hopefully, from afar. Last year it was very predictable with what was happening with Kansas City. I looked at the futures a little bit, and I didn't want to pour a ton of time into them. We may do a later futures video with a little bit more detail, but for now I'm to be decided on the futures. I don't have any to endorse. This is the AFC East. If you want to see your division, your team's division next, comment it down below right now. Whatever comment or the most commented division on this video, I will do for my next video next week. So take a second. I'm a Seahawks fan. I would say NFC West. Let's see it. Drop that comment down below. We'll do that next. The Jets are the next team to talk about. They add Justin Fields over from Pittsburgh, who just dislocated his toe in training camp. More on that. He's considered day-to-day. We'll see if that has lingering effects. Josh Reynolds comes over from the Rams, and Mason Taylor drafted out of LSU. And, I look at this team, and the Aaron Rodgers experiment failed significantly harder than I expected it to. I was optimistic that Aaron Rodgers still had juice in the pouch, and it wasn't the case. And I don't know if it was the case that he didn't have juice in the pouch or that the juice was not palatable to this organization. Obviously, with Robert Saleh getting fired mid-year, leaving mid-year, and Aaron Rodgers, all just drama all the time with this team. So I think good riddance for the Jets. And I look at this schedule, and it is a tough schedule. They have Buffalo twice, obviously. Baltimore's on here. Tampa Bay could give them some obvious issues, but they also have some winnable games. Of course, the Pittsburgh Aaron Rodgers narrative rematch week 1, cinema, pure cinema. Dallas, who knows what they're going to be this year. I think Denver overperformed last year. I think the Jets could beat Denver at home. So I look at some of these. New Orleans, that's a winnable game. Atlanta, what are they going to? There's a lot of question marks. So their ceiling, this may be a crazy number. I think it's 10-7. I think this team could get away. Best case scenario, shock the world type numbers is 10-7. Average 7-10, floor 2-15. So again, a little optimistic, but I'm probably, to the baseline, the most optimistic about the Jets in this division than I am any other team. So fantasy targets, I've heard a lot of people discuss Breece Hall. I think they're going to have to lean on Breece Hall. I think Justin Fields' ability to also run the ball and to run some read option and to be a threat out of the backfield can be a benefit to Breece Hall. So I like him in fantasy. And I think Josh Reynolds is a decent sleeper. Garrett Wilson's obviously going to get a lot of game planning around him. Allen Lazard could be the beneficiary of that, but I think Josh Reynolds, who has shown a lot of uptick in usage recently with the Rams or in his final days with the Rams, fighting through Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, like he's used to not being that number one guy, but I think this newer role, provided Justin Fields can help him fill that role, I think Josh Reynolds is a little bit of a sleeper this year. So my biggest question is this man right here. And I hate to do that. I hate to be like, oh, my biggest question is the quarterback, because it just feels cheap. But I look at Justin Fields, and if we look down here at his games played, if we look at his yards, it's underwhelming. And I think quarterbacks in the NFL are very system dependent. I think if Justin Fields had been on other teams, he could have been a player. People don't just wander into the NFL. I mean, we're often critical of performances, but I think sometimes it's about the cohesion and the chemistry. And Chicago at times looked like a good fit for him, but overall it wasn't. Pittsburgh at the start of the year, where they were waiting for Russell Wilson to get back, I believe Justin Fields led him to 7 wins. And Mike Tomlin made the decision to go with Russell Wilson. I felt that was a little odd, but I'm not going to doubt a guy like Mike Tomlin. I'm just fearful that the Jets is not the system. The Jets are not the organization. We watched what they were not able to do with Aaron Rodgers, a Hall of Famer. Can Justin Fields fit? That's my biggest question. I don't know the answer to that. And I think that's going to hinge a lot on I should say their record, this ceiling, this floor. All of these numbers are going to hinge around, are we going to be in week 14 saying, wow, Justin Fields, this is the best year he's ever played, or are we going to say, Justin Fields, is this guy a backup? And what's the future for him in the league? I think that's what it comes down to. So here's what I want to say. And I'm optimistic. I've said that. That's my bias here. I'll admit it. In 2024, the New York Jets had 7 losses by 1 score. Field goal, touchdown, 7 points or less. In 2024, their closest win of, I believe, their 4 or 5 wins was 7 points. So when they were winning big. They were blowing teams out. Their defense was doing a good job, not allowing the other team to score enough points. I was shocked by this. Nearly all of their losses were by 1 score, but nearly all of their wins were by big margins. So you flip a couple of those games, we got a different outcome. Now, of course, it's a different team. We got a different quarterback. We got a different everything. However, I'm optimistic. If I had to make a bet on this team as a future, I'd say over 5.5 wins. Don't shoot the messenger. Last team we got is the Miami Dolphins. Looks very similar depth chart-wise to what we saw last year. Nick Westbrook-Akine comes over from Tennessee, another guy who found some success at the end of the year. And Darren Waller? I thought Darren Waller retired. I saw this. I didn't bother double-checking that this was correct. I'm a little shocked that that name's on here. I don't know what Darren Waller is going to provide to this team. I'm going to guess nothing. Schedule prediction, I think the ceiling of this team is 12-5. I think this is about a 9-8 team, which Vegas heavily disagrees with. I was shocked. This is a overestimation to the extreme based on what Vegas thinks. They have them like the over 8.5 or over 7.5 was like plus 165 or something. I may be a little bit too optimistic here, but I think they've got some winnable games. 5-12. Fantasy targets, you don't see anything because I don't like anybody. I don't trust this team, and we'll talk about why. And that why is right here. And again, I hate to be the quarterback guy, and I hate to spoil it for you, but who is this player? Who is this player that's been on Miami for 5 years and has never played a complete season outside of 2023? Missed 7 games, missed 4 games, missed 6 games last year. I look at Tua's injuries and I think, is this worth it, bud? And not bud in a condescending way, but bud in a like, dude, like, is it worth it? You know what I mean? And I worry. I mean, head injuries are not only dangerous, but they're repeated. They're repeatable. You injure your head once, you're more likely to get another concussion. So my question is, does Tua stay healthy? And even if he's healthy, is he that guy? Because I'm not convinced that Tua is really a top 20 quarterback in the NFL. And that may be crazy to say. Could I name 20 quarterbacks better than Tua? I think I could. Just some thoughts. Futures. We'll get a quirky one here. We'll get a fun one. Well, you're an idiot. You're not a sports bettor. You're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. This is the worst bet I've ever seen. Do you know the hold? Are you aware of the hold that FanDuel probably has on this? It's a one-way market. Yeah, it's 4 different options. Go calculate the hold. Green means go. Quit trying to tell your fans and followers to bet things that are just so irresponsible. Here's the deal. I think they finished third in the East. I think the Bills take it, and I think the Jets or the Patriots beat them, and then they beat the other team. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. This isn't an exacta. We're not doing an exacta, guys. I'm not a lunatic. I like Miami to finish third, 175. Would I bet it? Probably not. But if I had to, that's what I'd pick. That's what we got for you today. That's all we got for you at all. So enjoy your Tuesday, and if you're watching this on another day, enjoy your other day. Send this to your biggest Dolphins, Patriots, Bills, or Jets fan, and tell them, what do you think of this guy's opinion of your team? Is it valid, or is it false? Enjoy yourself, or whatever. Bye, I love you.